Shalom, Kal Halalim Le'Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Racha HaKudash, double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of GMS Daruwell. Salutations and blessings to you elect out there. So this lesson is going to deal with pilgrim, a pilgrimage. And the life of a pilgrim is not easy. And this is coming from 2nd Ezra 16 and 38. It says, as when a woman, with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment, right? We speak on that. We've been in the birth pangs for quite a while, and when a woman has a birth pang, she screams in pain, then there's a break. But as she screams the next time, each break, it becomes smaller, becomes shorter. So each break that she gets, it becomes shorter. So there's a time when there's no break. And that's what we're clearly heading into. We're heading into the time of Jacob's trouble, where it's just going to be all pangs and sorrow, Verse 39, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So hell on earth, and we're already living in hell. It's just going to be amplified, right? All my people hear my word. See, so who is his people? Not all Israel, right? The scriptures in the book of Romans says, for they are not all Israel who are of Israel. So it says, all my people hear my word, make you ready to thy battle. And in those evils, what does evil mean? Eve meaning time, ill, bad. In those bad times, it says, be even as pilgrims upon the earth, right? So what is a pilgrim? A pilgrim is a person that pretty much travels from place to place in seek of his native country, And in this case, since we have no home, which I'm going to get that in the book of Hebrews, let me get this next scripture actually. Hebrews 11 and 12. We know this chapter, brothers of GMS, Hebrews 11, a very great chapter on faith, right? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So that's going to be a driving engine in that time, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time, right? The book of Isaiah. So pretty much you're not going to have anything in that time, and this chapter was going into the works of various, mainly Abraham, but also dealing with Noah, Sarah, Enoch. So it says, and so a whole nation came from this one man, who was as good as dead, a nation with so many people that, like the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore, there is no way to count them. All these people died, still believing what the Most High had promised them. They did not receive what was promised, but they saw it all from a distance and welcomed it. They agreed that they were foreigners and nomads here on earth. You see? And you see how beautiful that is, that Abraham, he was a pilgrim. He had a pilgrimage. When you hold on once, right? When you look at Abraham's a journey, or his pilgrimage as well, he was a foreigner. He was in a foreign land. His father, right? We know, worshipped idols. His father was a heathen, pretty much in a heathen state of mind, and he came up as an Israelite, pretty much, in the spirit, if you understand. Right, very, very, very relative to us, right? Majority of us, I grew up in the world. Majority of brothers grew up in the world. We were eating pork. We were bugged out, worshiping Jeezy, Creasy, whatever kind of religion, whatever kind of religion and doctrine we subscribe to. But Abraham, man, he went far, man. He had a pilgrimage. You know, and it's not easy. You know, he went into Egypt as well after, but um, yeah, as you see here, right in Goshen, this is known as the Fertile Crescent. But anyway, let's go back to Hebrews 11. Right, they were nomads. So interestingly enough, we're coming in a time now where we're going to be nomads. We're going to be pilgrims as well. Right? We're going to have to do that. As you see in the KJV, it says 13, these all died in faith, not having received the promises, but they, guess what, they came back. There's a thing called reincarnation. Okay, but having seen them afar off and were persuaded of them and embraced them and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. Okay. Now let me see. Let me get that other one I was mentioning. Yeah. Hebrews 13 and 14. Here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come. NLT says, for this world is not our permanent home. And this is speaking twofold, right? You know, we're not in that mindset of being a Babylonian, and we're not in the land. We're in a foreign land. We're in Babylon. Okay? We're in Arsareth, Acharataza, another land. So we got to go back to the east. Okay, that's our pilgrimage. We're prophesying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua that they have imparted into us. We're speaking these words, man, and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we're speaking the kingdom into existence, which means we're breaking down this kingdom spiritually with our words. You know, everything is being set up around you. The book of Second Ezra also mentions the angel told Ezra, look, the kingdom of heaven is already prepared for you. It is already prepared for you, man. Watch, you know. For this world is not our permanent home. We are looking forward to a home yet to come. Beautiful. And what is that? Right? The kingdom of Israel, the house of David. Okay. Now, this was something I typed in ChatGPT. Hold on, actually. Where is that? Right here. I typed in, is a pilgrim's life easy? And this is what it said. A pilgrim's life is generally not easy. Pilgrims often leave behind their homes, comforts, and sometimes even their families to undertake long, challenging journeys for spiritual or religious reasons. The hardships they face can include long distances on foot, which you see the Apostle Gabar. He's walking miles with a vest, with a backpack. All right, doing the walk and talk. The apostles on down have been pushing us for years. I remember when the apostles brought out the video on what was it? The Mean Green Super Smoothie, the Green Super Smoothie. You know, I think it was called the Mean Green Super Smoothie. Okay, that's when we got into the greens. We got that fucking uric acid out of our body. You know, we started detoxing. You know, oh shit, we got parasites. We need to, get into herbs. The apostles pushed us, man, from way back. That was like, I think 2013, 2014, something like that. You know, so over 10 years ago now. But you see, the spirit is, man, brothers gotta walk. You know, that's one of the oldest. That is the oldest form and way of transportation. You got two legs, you go and walk, right? And that's a thing that personally I love to do in the world, and I still love to do it. You know, that's just my spirit, and I found out my grandfather, he used to do it. He just walked for miles, so that's in my spirit. You know, but some people don't like to walk. But guess what? We're so conformed to this Babylonian society where you got a chariot, you just hop on, or you go on the train, or you go on the bus. But guess what? People used to walk, and people still walk in certain parts of the planet. So get used to long distances on foot, harsh weather. We're here in Canada, brothers are in the northeast America, The Midwest, it gets cold, man. Lord's will, hey, man, hopefully this happens in the summer, man, because look, when they institute that mark, things are gonna move extra fast. Like you got the arrows on your remote for fast forwarding. You got 1, 2, 3. It's gonna go times 4. Okay, because things are gonna hurry up. The Lord is gonna shorten the time. Limited food and shelter, unfamiliar or dangerous terrain, emotional and physical exhaustion, right? And pain, really. Okay? You're gonna have blisters on your feet, you know? You just gotta have to deal with shit, man. You know? And it's gonna suck. It's gonna be the most extreme thing any brother has been through, really. You know? Because it's gonna come upon the whole planet to try the whole world, man. It's going to be very serious. So this is a pilgrim's life. It's not easy. You have to adopt the mindset that we're not of this world. We're completely different. That's why Yahushua told us you got to be like a soldier. Okay, a soldier, he doesn't entangle himself, as the book of Second Timothy. Let's get that 2 and 3. And thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua Mashiach. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. In the NLT verse 4 reads, soldiers don't get tied up in the affairs of civilian life, for then they cannot please the officer who enlisted them. And athletes, verse 5, cannot win the prize unless they follow the rules. Okay? So, this whole entangling and getting in the mindset of, this is part of why people are going to accept the mark of the beast so easily, because they already worship the image of the beast. They already worship the system. They're so entangled with the system, with this way of life. Okay? Even if they heard a conspiracy, even if they watch Alex Jones and they say, I'm never putting a microchip in my hand, look, a lot of people said I'm not taking that jab over 5 years ago. Well, yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. And look how many people took it. All right. Anyway, I hope you're edified with that. Shalom.